So my name is Monika, and I'm an associate at Isgenuity. We're an architecture firm based in Boston, Massachusetts, and we do planning and interiors. And the topic of our project was drawing a comparison between AEC project delivery and filmmaking, and seeing that the two processes, they actually share a lot of very striking similarities, and what lessons the AEC industry could take from film production. And so why filmmaking? Personally, I've always been a very big fan of watching movies and watching TV shows. And definitely when I watch movies, especially with other people, it's sort of something, it's an activity where I kind of feel a bit more human. I feel more like a person, because I'm watching stories about other humans, and other humans having relationships and working together and living together, and getting into conflicts and resolving those conflicts together. And especially when I go to the movies, I watch a movie with other people sitting around me, I feel connected to other people. So it's something that filmmaking, like movies and filmmaking, it's something that I've always been very interested in and very connected to. And I thought, considering what's been happening in the news lately, regarding the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild of America strikes, I heard one person on the picket lines. They said something that I found very striking. They said, and I think they were part of the Writers Guild of America union. They said, you can't really do they said something to the effect of, you can't really do a lot without writers. Like actors can't act without a script, directors can't direct without a script, producers can't produce without a script, and who makes the script? Screenwriters. So that's something that got the wheels in my head turning. And so we're going to get into sort of the different parts, the sort of step-by-step process of producing a film, and how it's similar to the development of an AEC project. So any kind of project, it starts with an idea, and movies, films, videos, and AEC projects, they're no different. For a movie or a film, it can start with something as simple as a screenwriter might have an idea for a story to tell, or even a producer might have an idea for a story to tell. And in the AEC industry, typically the idea that, like, the sort of root idea that gets developed into an AEC project, that typically begins with a potential client. And the client, as you know, could be like an owner, a property owner, or a property developer, or they can be an institution who rents out property. And they have ideas about how to transform their space to make their space work better for them. And so those are usually like the ideas that are the root of film production projects and AEC projects. And developing ideas. So the initial ideas for these projects, they go through processes of development. In filmmaking, typically you'll have screenwriters and maybe other filmmakers thinking about the different characters of a story, and thinking about each, like, the subplots for each character and how those subplots converge, and then the overall arc of the film. And in AEC project delivery, typically that that development of the idea, it comes in the form of designers working with the client, working with end users to understand their needs and to lay out space and develop a program and plans that accommodate the needs of the client and the end users. And so you'll start to see in developing ideas in both the film production context and the AEC project delivery context. You'll start to see ideas grow and develop, and they'll crystallize in detail and mature into their natural projected scope and complexity. And so documentation of ideas is a next step. So for documentation of ideas, this step pretty much it's basically where all the initial ideas and the development of the ideas gets sort of crystallized, and you have the production of principal documents that are essentially like the instruction manuals for how to deliver the project. Both filmmaking projects and AEC delivery projects, they both of those project types can refer to contracts or binding agreements that can govern the relationship between a client and a contractor, or between contractors and consultants. So contracts and contractual agreements and binding agreements, those can be part of the principal documents that are the pretty much part of the project manual. For a movie or a film, for a movie like production, the principal documents will also include a screenplay or a script, outlines, and storyboards. And for an AEC project, the principal documents include construction drawings and specifications. And so getting more into the storyboards that are a concept of film production. So in film production, like a storyboard is roughly defined as a series of drawings that are used as a decision-making tool and a logistics planning tool to make decisions on camera angles and what's going to be included, what's going to be shown in certain shots, what the shot sizes are going to be in the film. And I think learning about what a storyboard was in the filmmaking process, it definitely felt very similar to construction scheduling and logistics planning that's typically handled by the general contractor or the construction manager, where in construction scheduling, a lot like the tasks and activities of different types of trades are coordinated in advance, and in order to build out a certain part of the project. And it's similar to a storyboard, where you have the series of drawings that are showing the scenes over a span of time in the movie. So storyboards are kind of analogous to construction scheduling and logistics planning. And in both cases of filmmaking and AEC project delivery, they help coordinate the tasks and activities of multiple different disciplines and trades involved in working on a project. And this brings us to the cast and crew. So for both film production projects and AEC delivery projects, both projects they rely on the coordinated collective efforts of multiple different disciplines and trades. For a film production, it relies on key grips, gaffers, lighting technicians and designers, sound technicians and designers, set designers and builders, makeup artists, costume designers, actors, etc. And it's like it looks very similar to what you might see on a construction site, where you'll have a project manager, a superintendent, and you'll have foremen and laborers of all different types of trades, and they're all present on the site working simultaneously because their efforts were coordinated in advance by the general contractor and construction manager. And so lessons learned, I think thinking back on some of the presentations that we've just seen, I think the lessons learned can tie back to those presentations. One of the lessons learned was that we found that having a stronger and more prominent consensus, like across all parties involved in project delivery, can be a sort of uniting force and a synergistic force that coordinates project efforts better. And also sort of when we compared film production with the AEC project delivery, we saw the very diverse cast and crews for each project stood out to us. So I think like having a stronger and more consistent focus throughout the project on the core, on the people that are at the core of the project, their different narratives, the different types of work that they're doing, and how all those like different lines of work are coordinated to produce the end product. And the fourth lesson learned was storyboarding as a device, storyboarding and scheduling, and like the logistics planning as a device to help all parties involved understand the larger picture at hand and understand where their role and their work fits in that larger picture. And also that brings us to the last point, where if you're more aware of the other trades and other disciplines of work involved in the project that you're working on, for example, if you're an architect and you familiarize yourself more with like mechanical systems or electrical systems, or the process that a mill worker has to go through, that can definitely, that kind of awareness and that kind of knowledge can be used to sharpen problem solving, the problem solving thought process as it relates specifically to the AEC project delivery process. Because I was listening to this podcast that had Jonah Hill on it. And Jonah Hill, he's an actor who's worked with Martin Scorsese, and he talks about, on the podcast, he talks about why Martin Scorsese is such a great director. And the reason why is, he says, is because Martin Scorsese is a magnificent problem solver. Like he's just solving problems. He's solving problems constantly, and that's what and Jonah Hill talks about how that's what a directing a movie is just, you're just constantly problem solving. And I couldn't help but think about how that's pretty much the essence of what we do as AEC professionals, is that we're always looking for a solution. We're always identifying what the problems are and like looking for solutions for problems.
Yeah. Great.
And to conclude, I'll just leave you with this sort of incredible image that I found. This is kind of like it looked very similar to a Gantt chart that we use in construction and project scheduling. But what it is I think she's a screenwriter who is trying to map out like minute by minute, maybe even second by second, what's going to happen in the movie she's trying to make. So, and it's just, I think seeing this image, it was pretty inspiring to me, and it like sort of reinvigorates my energy to like look at a construction schedule.
Great. That's great. Let's get you some good feedback from our group.
So one quick question and then we'll go into the breakout groups. And if you can stop sharing, Monica, so we can go back to the,
There we go.
there we go, gallery view, and I'm gonna mix you guys up a little bit. But in the meantime, what was either a key observation or
Oh, I'll comment.
question? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. Thank you, Monica. I'm a little bit biased from historically being on the project manager side, but I've always maintained that if you can manage a construction project, there's not much that you can't do, because you know, it's coordinating a lot of trades that are, you know, interested in their own objectives and trying to do that in compliance with contract drawings, and to the satisfaction of an owner who's paying a lot of money and wants a high quality product. It's interesting to see the corollaries between construction project management and film project management, where there's so many commonalities, but you know, I thought that was pretty cool analogy. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I think it definitely, I found that I felt like it would be refreshing to kind of like take a step back from our AEC world, like, and step into another kind of world and kind of, and sort of think out of the box in that way and problem solve from that angle.